Gershwin,
Good morning, Honorable.
good morning. How are you?
Well, thanks, sir. It's good to hear your voice.
Thanks. Help me, man. I want a background to see me with a background of Parliament or something like that. My constituency administrator is trying to help. What can we do?
Honorable,
Talk to her.
firstly, there's a window at the back which is casting too much light, so we can't see you clearly. So you need to face the camera towards the wall, or close the curtain behind you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, fine. It's not. Hello. Oh, good Lord. Okay. Let me. Hey. Gash,
Yes,
Gash,
Ikosi.
you can
I
see
can hear
me?
you. I can see you. It's a little bit better, but we can organize that afterwards. If I can just direct you, if you see at the bottom of the screen, there's a menu.
A menu.
Yes, it says video.
The screen. Mhlawumbe umenyu wakho ayinguyellow shift.
Button of the meeting is being transcribed. Oh, companies. Okay. At the bottom, there are things. There's a menu: participant, chat, react, whatever, meeting info, apps, more. Press more. Is it?
Yes.
To give me some more, yeah. Record, transcribe, captions, docs, document, white, whatever, reset, default. No.
Nkosi, let
Yeah.
me do this. Let me call you offline, and then we can discuss, and I can show you where.
Oh,
No, we want that also, Gesh.
Oh, no problem.
That's okay. Hey!
On my tablet, I've struggled. I've tried my all little skills I have to get the background on the tablet. It's not coming forth.
Okay. So there's a video button that you click on and off. So that activates your video screen. But on that video button, there's a little arrow that you can click, and then it gives you
Video button. Oh, okay. Yes. The arrow.
Yes, click that little arrow.
No. That's it. Okay.
In front of the video on my tablet, there's nothing, Gesh.
Okay.
The only arrow which is there
my
is
background,
the
FaceTime, adjust background and effects, yes.
Yes, and then you've got
Let me wait
background.
for the other member. I'm now at adjust background and effects.
No, when you are done, because when you are there, you are done. You can do it.
Huh?
When you have reached that stage, then you can adjust your background.
Yes, then you'll be able to choose a background with it. If you scroll down, you'll see there's pictures of Parliament.
If you have saved them.
Back. Oh. Where?
Let's
go back.
Have you saved those background Parliament?
There's no background Parliament.
Adjust background and effects.
You know, once those that they gave us in the group, you must save it first on your laptop.
Oh,
then
okay.
In the gallery, then you'll be able to get. If you didn't save it, you won't access it.
Yeah, I don't think that I saved it. Okay. Where can we go?
So with me, Gesh, the problem is on the tablet. That Nkosi is now. It's not appearing. The only arrow is the share and the three little dots where you go for more.
Okay. Let me just check on the tablet settings, and I'll get back to you, Honorable Noe. Let me just check offline quickly.
Okay.
This color.
Sendifuna ucheck ukuthi uba akho nto izoba ne igalari ye-iPhone kanene zibaphi ngonezefowuni.
Did you save it, Ngozi?
No. We're still looking for
Galleries.
gallery.
Okay.
Where is it?
On the
Gallery.
laptop.
On the laptop.
Are you on the laptop or are you on
My
the
laptop,
tablet?
laptop.
Oh.
Okay. Photos, yes.
Hi sis. Kunjani?
Sis Wam, the right
How to
Jan.
get started?
Did you get started? New photos.
Yeah.
Mama. Kala phansi uthi yo zoqala meeting zobuya nejijo. Okay. Okay. Malibesiva. Okay.
Khona i-meeting eliceliwe uzofika ulikhabhodi apha e-police station. Ngoku i-problem abanayo yinto yobana bafika
Close the mic.
mhlawumbi bezile ofisini.
You're on private talk. Close the mic.
Okay.
Tombela, vala mic yakho.
Billy?
How are you, Honorable?
I'm okay. Can't you two assist on the issue that we are discussing here with Gesh to get my background, the Parliament background on the tablet, which icon?
Honorable Noe.
Okay, Gesh.
Can you go to that more button?
Yes.
And then what if you can read out the menu items?
Request host. Okay, no, it's captions, all companion chat, meetings, settings, docs, whiteboard, notes, apps.
You can go into settings.
Settings. Okay, meeting settings. Yeah, and then here it's the first one.
Good morning, colleagues.
Meeting
Morning,
controls, meeting topic.
Good morning, Chair.
Morning, Chair. Show name when participant join. Show non-video participants. Show my
Yes.
video in gallery view. Stop incoming video.
IT specialist ntate Pitso o kae?
Ke teng o kae mme?
Re leboga di-service tsa gago ka jeko ga go bona o busy up and about. ATC.
We are still informal. Chairperson, we are still informal here.
Yes.
Just a little bit. We've got 2 minutes.
You only have 2 minutes to finish your informality session.
Yeah, I guess anything.
Oh, Chair. Honorable Noe is trying to take your place.
Ke mang ke Billy?
Uyaqala wena manje.
Ke mang o buang?
Ke Billy.
Yeah, debate and rule mchana. Hayi.
He's hijacking. He's attempting to hijack your meeting.
Give Gash to guide me. We were almost finishing, guys. Let's see whether we'll get it right.
Okay,
if we can't.
ITC, let me mute then. You indicate when you are finished.
Yes,
Thanks.
yes.
So under the settings, then you can just look for the video controls or the meeting controls. It should be under that menu item.
Here it's only allowances, what do you allow and not allow, the way I see it. There's nothing that takes you to because it says stop incoming video. It's off now. I don't know if I open it and then show my video in gallery view, it's on. show name and participants and join, and meetings topics, okay. Always show meeting controls, that's all. Nothing takes me to the issue that relates to the background.
Okay, I'm not sure, Honorable. Let me just contact IT, and then I'll ask them just to contact you now as well.
Okay, just ask them to open me on the laptop on the other one, because I'm trying to log in with the two devices. If this one doesn't work, then I'll use the others. We'll see it. But try it, because there's no more time. But we can try it.
Get back to you now. Right?
Okay.
Even up, Chair, I think I'll be okay. Yeah, not the consequence in my notebook. And then
You are not okay. It's already 10 o'clock and you are still chatting that side. Kampelentola Eliana. Mute so that we continue with the meeting.
Yes.
Yeah. No, thank you, honorable members. It's 10 o'clock on the dot. And once more, I want to thank for
You are fading, Chairperson, you are fading, you are not audible.
Honorable Chairperson, your network is bad. Can you please try to find a space where you have enough network coverage?
Totally gone.
Chair.
thank you, Honorable Nonkonyane. I think Honorable Chief Whip from the NA Deputy Chief Whip, the connectivity. So I want to check if I'm audible.
No, you are still not, Chair. If you can just move a bit, let's see. You're not.
Honorable members, am I still not audible?
You better now.
No one can hear from my side. I can hear you.
You are very clear on the side, Chairperson.
I'm very clear on the side of KZN.
Oh, to all
Recording
of us.
in progress.
Okay. No, thank you, honorable members. As I was saying, I would like to appreciate and welcome you and welcome all the colleagues on the platform. I have noted that we have members from the NA as well joining us in this meeting. So this meeting is duly officially opened, and members would all know that this is our first meeting in terms of issues of international relations. So we are starting in a good footing in terms of understanding the issues of SADC protocols and what we have to do as members of the Select Committee. Noting that we are all be guided in terms of the processes that will unfold up until to the end where we would have to adopt this particular report. So with that being said, members, I know that all of us, we are inclined about what has been happening around us. Some of us, we are very happy by the fact that those who are deployed at Congo came back properly. And we're still noticing that there's still that vibe that what we have experienced, we were not supposed to experience. However, we are noting that as they come back, we are taking note that these are our heroes. And I hope as we do our constituency work where we are, we would touch base with those that we know that they were part of the deployment. so that we get an essence in terms of what we can do better from the lessons learned. The SADC PF has aspired to transform into a Southern Africa development community, regional parliament since 2003 and in August 2021. This decision was approved by SADC Summit of Heads of States. The SADC Secretariat has informed member states that the agreement amending the treaty to recognize SADC Parliament as one of the SADC institutions entered into force on 11 July 2024. Subsequently, the member states were asked to submit inputs on the draft protocol on the SADC Parliament by 30 April 2025. So we are seated here, member, on the basis that DERCO transmitted the draft protocol for consideration and input of South African Parliament. So please note that we are sitting here, noting that as well PGIR will be sitting in terms of engaging on these issues as well. Members, I want to bring to yourselves as well that our role as members of Parliament is to consider and submit inputs on the draft protocol on the SADC Parliament for the two committees in both houses to find ways and means to expeditiously consider the draft protocol and come up with consolidated inputs to be submitted to the Ministry of International Relations and Cooperation for transmission of the South African Parliament's input to the SADC. Today, members, we are going to get as well the Parliamentary Legal Services that will take us through the presentation to the Committee on the SADC Protocol and the proposed amendment to facilitate this process. We look forward to the presentation to guide our committee to fulfill our role in relation to the SADC Protocol and to provide input from the South African Parliament. So the meeting is officially opened, members, and I would want Gershwin to take us through the apologies, just to indicate that actually dressed up and properly in terms of protocol of our meetings. I'm just going to switch off my video based on the fact of the bandwidth. So with that being said, I'm handing over to Honorable to Gershwin in terms of apologies. Then members, I think what we can do is just to get a roll call from NA as well NCOP before we can continue with our meeting, because we know this is our first meeting of its kind that we're sitting as both houses to go through this particular presentation. Honorable Pito, is there anything that you would want to say? Because I see that your mic is open.
Oh, my mic was not open. Oh, which one is there? Was not open, Chair. I've got nothing to say at this stage.
Okay, no, thank you. Because on my side, it indicates the green highlights. I'm not sure whether is it on the other gadget or what, but yeah, just check on your gadget if there's something that is open there. But with that being said, Gershwin, kindly take us through the apologies, and as well, let's do a roll call from the side of NA as well on our side of the NCOP, because we know that we haven't met as this committee, and today we are seated here virtual to ensure that we don't, fall back on our program of action. So we would start with the NA after the apologies, and then go to the NCOP and get as well the Department of International Relations and Cooperation to introduce themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Very short, Chair. We have received no apologies from our committee. All members should be in attendance, Chair.
Thank you, Gesh. Can we start from the side of NA in terms of the roll call on who is here? And if possible, if members feel that the leader of delegation can introduce people from the NA, it's fine, but we will be happy to get to know who's with us from that side and as well from the side of the NCOP. Thank you.
Honorable Radebe.
Okay. Thank you, Honorable Khatebe. Sorry, man, for not observing protocol. This is a serious meeting. We are joined by those who are in high authority in the House, and we welcome you, Ntate Khatebe. Over to you.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson Mananiso, and the colleagues on the side of the Select Committee of Safety and Security, plus my colleagues on the side of the NA who have joined this meeting. This meeting, as the chairperson, House Chairperson, International Relations on the side of the NCOP. That's why we have almost a full contingent of the PIR, because as was cited here today, this report of the SADC protocol had been referred by the PGIR on Friday to these committees, both on the committees of the Select Committee and that one of the PC, International Relations, because we must move with speed to ensure that we do deliberate about the issues involved on this protocol so that we can advise our government accordingly how they should approach that. Because I think that, as you said, is that the other countries have ratified this protocol who are left behind. Actually, who are left behind is South Africa. So that's why we have this full contingent. It is not here, it is not the issue of invading your committee meeting, Chairperson. It's a matter of must. We must do it as of yesterday. I'd also like to welcome my co-chairperson of PGIR, Honorable Majosi, who's part of this meeting. I think let us have a fruitful meeting so that we ensure that as Parliament, we execute our mandate thoroughly to ensure that the views of the South Africa are reflected on all the international fora where we are participating. Ke a leboga, ngiyabonga, Mqinihlalo.
Honorable Khatebe, we are honored as this select committee.
The select committee. Yeah, I think this.
Who is disturbing us? On the side of the NCOP, we are not used to be reprimanding people about muting and stuff. So we would request that members would check with other members on the platform. And perhaps what will be good for us for today's meeting is that the host must mute everybody who's not speaking so that we don't get interference or disruptions as presentations will be unfolding. Gash, kindly assist us to mute everybody because we know that we're very focused here in terms of the work that we need to execute. So with that being said, I welcome the PGIR. And I'm part of the PGIR. And Honorable Khatebe, we want to acknowledge the understanding that we are not in competition, but we must work with each other to ensure that the signage and we respond to issues that we have to do when they are before us. Thank you for understanding that we can use the same platform in ensuring that we execute the Parliament business. With that being said, I would want to hand over. Gesh, can you fly the agenda, please?
No, the chair will.
Yes, I know we have omitted the issue of the introduction from our side, but Honorable Becky, you are not least you know, but for those members who don't know who the composition of us from the NCOP, we have Honorable Billy Mzamo from KZN, who is the whip of KZN, and we have Honorable Mukai from Northern Cape, who is the chair of the petition and undertakings, and we have Honorable Midupi from Northwest, and we have Honorable Pito Noe from the Free State, who is acting at most of the time in terms of being the chair, and as well the whip of Free State. And then we have Honorable Pala from Limpopo, Honorable Pala. He's the co-chair for defense, and from, okay, I indicated that he's from Limpopo. He's the co-chair for defense. And we have Honorable Zulu from MKP, who is from Mpumalanga. and Honorable Gerik from the Western Cape EFF, and Honorable Gotzel from Western Cape DA, and Honorable Asanda from EFF from Eastern Cape. So it is our composition from the NCOP, and we have Geshwen as the secretary, and Dr. Enthea as the content advisor, and Patricia as the researcher. So, and we have two members who they support this particular committee. In terms of logistics, we have Enrico, and the PA to the chair, we have Uleka. So that is our composition from the side of the NCOP, of which we are charged to do this work of the security and justice. So with that being said, we can just go straight to the presentation. And I would want to indicate as well to the legal department that they must note that we got the presentation before. So it will be important for them to emphasize where they think that as members we would get the gist in terms of what we need to do, rather than going to word by word, so that we can engage fruitfully so from the side of the members in terms of clarity seeking questions and as well input. So over to you, to the department. I've noted that the person who will be representing Parliament in terms of this engagement is Advocate Janjes. So I'm handing over to the department. I'm not sure if international relations would want to hand over the legal advisor, or we can just continue as it is. Thank you. Over to you, colleagues.
Chair. Sorry, Chair.
You, Honorable Nonkonyan, sorry.
Nonkonyana, I'm just trying to raise my hand, and I don't know what's wrong with this Kazi of man. My apology for that. And the reason why I was going to raise my hand is you did well to introduce us. It would be good if our colleagues in the NA, for record purposes, are also introduced in one way or the other. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. And I forgot to introduce you. I'm going to call my name every day. We have the whip of the select committee, Honorable Nonkonyane from the Eastern Cape. Nkosi, thank you. I actually indicated that. And then Honorable Becky did indicate Ikopia Kea PGIR. So can we get those who were not introduced by Honorable Becky to be introduced so that we know who is with us in today's meeting, colleagues?
Chairperson, on the side of the NCOP, the members of the PGIR, of course, it is yourself, Chairperson, plus Honorable Machobeni and Honorable Billy, who are part of that. On the side of the NCOP, the PGIR component, I request the Honorable Majosi to introduce the contingent on the side of the NA. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Khadebe. Honorable Majosi.
Chairperson, let me do it.
Honorable co-chairpersons, can I assist?
Yes,
thank you,
I was
Honorable
going to delegate to you.
Yes, you have myself, Comrade Doris Lagutte, Honorable. Then you have Honorable Andisiwe Kumbaka. Honorable Andisiwe Kumbaka. Then you have Honorable Dudu Zuma Sambodla. You have I'm trying to look here because that is the responsibility of the Secretariat. Then you have Honorable Ngobile Mhlongo. Then you have if I left someone honorable, then we have Honorable Majosi. I think she's struggling with the network where she is. If I left anyone, it's not because of any mischief. It's because I was not prepared to do this. But those, Honorable Anthea van der Berg, I'm not sure if, okay. Those are the members who are here, those whom I can see, Honorable Chairperson. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chief Whip. We then now hand over to the department, and they can as well do their introduction while they continue with the presentation. Thank you.
Chairperson, the legal advisor, Ms. McGivern, will be speaking to her document, Chairperson.
I beg your pardon, Gash?
Apologies, Chair, you can guide me. Ms. McGivern, she is the legal advisor for Parliament. I'm not sure if where the department is at, Chair.
Okay, because on the side of the department, I see we have Dr. Dimarala, but we can now give to the legal department so that they can continue with the presentation.
Good morning, chairpersons, honourable members and colleagues. Do you want me to put my camera on? There is no presentation from legal services to be flighted, but I will be taking you through the comments that we provided to International Relations and Protocol Division for Parliament.
Okay, thank you, colleague. You can continue.
Okay. I provided comments on the SADC draft protocol, which was provided to us on the 20th of May. My understanding is that comments were to be provided to DIRCO by the 30th of April 2025. That date has passed, and I understand there may be negotiations happening in the background for your comments still to be made to DIRCO. We made certain typographical changes on the document, which is on screen at the moment. Those comments we're commenting on version 2 of, August 2024. So we assume that is the latest draft. DIRCO would have to confirm whether or not there's been any subsequent versions since they received, or if they have, since SADC has received other comments from other member states. The amendments essentially initially start with the typographical amendments. They are, because there's various amendments that are made by amendment agreements to the SADC treaty, and there isn't a consolidated treaty, it is quite difficult to go backwards and forwards between agreements and the original treaty to see which clauses, which articles have been amended. So we start by essentially taking you through various article references which don't appear to be correct given subsequent amendment agreements that have been concluded by member states. So DIRCO would need to align whether or not the articles that have been referred to in the preamble are correct or not. From what I could see from the various agreements, they don't appear to be correct. Then we looked at other amendments which identify gaps in the document. I'm just going to take you through the gaps that we identified before going through the protocol line by line. Essentially, we do think that the structure of the document could be more comprehensively described so that there's a hierarchical structure, membership numbers for various committees, and the manner in which persons are to be removed or the filling of vacancies in the event that they occur needs to be more systematically detailed in this document. There's a lot there. There's a potential for disputes between member nations if this isn't clarified, because it would be open to interpretation as to how certain things are to be done if the process isn't delineated clearly in the protocol itself. There was no time frame prescribed for the sittings of standing committees. Whilst the executive committees are sitting at least twice a year, it's unclear how often the standing committee is going to sit. It's also unclear if sessions of the committees or the plenary Assembly are going to be open to the public and or the media. So this should be detailed up front. It's in the interest of transparency and facilitating transparent democracy for all sessions to be open, but this isn't clear from the document itself. The processes to remove members in the event of misconduct should be included in the document. There isn't any oath of office prescribed. Further, in Article 26, we proposed a provision where Parliament could waive the immunities and privileges of a member in certain instances. This is provided for in other parliamentary protocols, but it's absent in this particular draft protocol. Then Article 35 provides for withdrawals. We would propose that there be an automatic withdrawal provision inserted which will then ensure that if a member state withdraws from the SADC treaty, that its member parliament's membership is automatically terminated. Then we noted that Article 18 provides for organs to determine their own rules of procedure, and would propose that a provision be inserted enabling the plenary assembly to regulate its own rules of procedure. And in this regard, we did propose that a rules committee be provided for as an additional organ. We noted that Article 30, whilst titled Regional Parliamentary Model Laws Oversight Committee, it's not a committee providing for rules and processes for the SADC Parliament, but it's rather the oversight of member states' performance in the implementing of SADC model laws, rules and policies. So there's still a gap in providing for a rules committee, which will then determine and regulate how processes of the plenary assembly and committees are run. Article 17 also provided that all decisions of the Parliament are taken by consensus, and in the event of such failure by a simple majority. We think that consideration should be held that certain decisions warrant a 2/3 majority, such as the election of the President and the Vice President of the Plenary Assembly and the Secretary General. So that should be considered. Then Article 23 provides for the Secretary General to prepare the approval for the Plenary Assembly, the financial rules and regulations and the management of the financial affairs of the SADC Parliament. The Secretary General is also the accounting officer for the SADC Parliament, so it would be prudent to ensure that there are external rules of financial regulation to avoid self-imposed regulation of the Parliament being weaker than would be prescribed for any other sector or one of the other institutions of SADC. Then we proposed that consideration be had whether there should be any relationship between the SADC Parliament and the Pan-African Parliament and parliaments of the regional economic communities and national parliaments. And then if so, that a clause be inserted to provide for their cooperation. And one of the last general issues that we noted was that there was an absence of an interpretation clause. So we would propose that that be inserted to regulate the manner in which the protocol is to be interpreted and who the authority to do so should be. Another point for concern that we noted was that there are budgetary obligations provided for in the draft protocol. Specifically, Article 19, subsection 1 of the draft protocol obliges member parliaments to make annual mandatory contributions based on a formula which is to be determined by the plenary assembly. That formula is unknown to me, and we would propose that the Secretary to Parliament as the accounting officer in terms of the financial management of Parliament and Provincial Legislatures Act and would have to ensure that there is sufficient budget available to meet such obligations, as there are sanctions provided for in the protocol, specifically Article 25(1), if those fees are not paid. So given the current fiscal constraints, this is something that the Secretary to Parliament may have to engage the Executive for Parliament as well as National Treasury and potentially DIRCO, as this is an obligation that's going to be imposed on Parliament and its budget by signature of this draft protocol in its current form. And then the last nominal issue that we noted was there isn't an allowance for members of SADC parliaments, which we have noted are provided for in other protocols. So it's assumed that members of parliaments are responsible for any costs associated with their attendance at plenary assemblies or any other duties that are imposed by the draft protocol, which of course has financial implications for Parliament. So it's proposed that those implications be considered and discussed with the Secretary to Parliament, who's essentially the accounting officer. Then if you would like, I can take you through the comments that we made on the draft itself. Chairperson, would you like me to continue with the
Yes,
comments?
please. Yes,
Okay.
please.
So our initial comments, as I said in the introduction, is pretty much on grammar used in the document. There are certain words that should be defined at the outset. We have, just let me get my document up. I think I need to take control of the document so that I can scroll through it. Or Gershon, will you be scrolling through the document?
Hi, could we see if you can share from your side?
Sure, let me share my screen. Are you able to? No, it's not flighting.
No problem. Let me flight it.
Okay. So I think the typographical changes are quite clear. So I won't go through that line by line. It's just where the past tense is used using the correct participle. So I've made those changes. Where there's an on, there should be an in. So substituting those clauses. Then with Article 1 and the definitions clause, which is the next page, there's reference to, well, what I think are incorrect sections in the treaty. So those should be corrected. But I think DIRCO is better to confirm what is essentially a final amended treaty in its amended form, because we haven't been provided with a copy thereof and it's not immediately apparent on SADC's website. But I do think that those references to those articles has been amended by subsequent agreements, which is the reason why I've provided for the amended article numbers. Then on the next page, under Article 4, which just scroll down, please, Gersha. So page 8, I think. Yeah, okay. There was initial discussion in some of the previous documentation which noted that Parliament was going to have an oversight of the SADC institutions. This doesn't seem to have been captured as an objective of the SADC Parliament under Article 4. So it was just to query whether or not that was still an intention, and if so, then a proposal could be made that the objectives be amended. Then if you scroll down to page 9. So there's a proposal to include the chairperson of the National Women's Parliamentary Caucus. So the comment there was simply to note for the Executive of Parliament to confirm that it's acceptable for such a member to take on this additional responsibility, and that that person would be able to avail their time for the duties that would be required in the SADC Parliament. At Article 8, that was the proposal for a rules committee to be established as a separate organ. And then that, operating similar to our rules committee, would determine the rules for the plenary assembly and the various committees. Then on page 11, it's just a typographical change throughout the document there, and it could just be the draft that we were provided. There's underlining in a lot of the documents, so we were just proposing that that gets removed. That's just, again, a typographical change. On page 12, again, it's typographical when they're using defined terms in the document, so you should capitalize those terms. Both presiding officers and ordinary members are defined in the treaty, so it should be capitalized so that it's not then to be interpreted to mean something different to those persons that are already provided for in the treaty. Then page 13. It was just a query that we had, which was whether the Secretary General is going to be appointed from members of the Plenary Assembly, or whether this is going to be a purely an administrative function that's going to be advertised and not affiliated politically to any state. So we propose that clarity be gained as to how this position is envisaged and which member would be eligible for being voted as a Secretary General. And that goes to the initial points that we were making with the structure of the document, that it be clarified how overall how the structure of Parliament is to be set out, who will perform what function, who's eligible for which positions, etc. Then with the standing committees, it's noted under Article 11 that standing committees are going to report to the Plenary Assembly. So it's assumed, my comment was that the persons going to be serving on the standing committee are appointed from those who are members of the Plenary Assembly, but that has to be clarified. It's not apparent from the documents in its current form. It needs to be clarified whether those members are going to be volunteering for such positions, or are they going to be appointed by a simple majority vote, or if those members are going to be proposed by another member state, and who votes on their membership or how they're appointed to a committee. Then if you can scroll down, please, to page 14. So under Article 11, there's the tenure of the chairperson and the vice chairperson for the standing committee. At the moment, it's structured to be a period of 2 years on a rotation basis. It's not clear with the way that this clause is framed, whether or not those are going to be consecutive years, so limitations being placed to the term of office, or whether those 2 years can run consecutively with each other, or whether those 2 years are going to be 2 in total and that's it. So we would propose that those clauses, especially with time periods, be framed in a way that is clear upfront, that it doesn't lead to dispute or debate later on. Then Article 12, we noted again for the executive of Parliament to consider whether they agree with the proposals, as this is going to impact the members of Multi-Party Women's Caucus. Then down on page 15, sorry. Those comments there are again typographical changes for the document. Then on page 16, it's the same typographical changes. It comes throughout the document with regards to underlining and capitalizing certain clauses. Then on page 19, the first comment is a punctuation amendment, which is just inserting a comma and deleting the semicolon. But what we would like clarified is for the Secretary General, who's going to be appointed for a 5-year period, and then is eligible for another period not exceeding 5 years. There doesn't seem to be a limitation on a continuation of those 5-year terms. So clarity needs to be held whether another period is to be limited or open-ended. So you can avoid a dispute later on where there's any particular Secretary General that will or might sit for more than 3 consecutive 5-year terms. Then under Article 17 for decisions, there should be a definition of organs inserted under Article 1, which is a definitions clause, because organs is defined in the treaty differently to how I would presume a organ is to be defined in Article 8 of the protocol. So it would be important to insert a definition, therefore, in Article 1 of the protocol. Then Article 19, that provides for how SADC is going to be resourced. And this goes to my earlier comment that essentially it's going to be, this Parliament will have to budget for the contribution towards the SADC Parliament. So it needs to be confirmed then every year, if this is acceptable to Parliament, that budget and allowances are made, because failing to provide for the annual mandatory contribution leads to membership being suspended later on in Article 25 of the draft. Then on Article 20, it's unclear how member parliaments are going to be empowered to act under the auspices of SADC. So clarity should be provided with regards to the assets, because the assets are held by SADC itself, and there doesn't appear to be any empowering provision at present to enable those members to act under the auspices of the SADC Parliament. They're acting as members of their member states. So if that is to be accepted, then there needs to be further provisions empowering them to act as such. Then Article 22 is again reference to an undefined term in the document. It refers to its programs, activities, but there is no definition for program, either in the protocol or the treaty. So it's proposed that clarity be sought as to what is meant by program, and then a definition therefore be inserted in the draft. With regards to Article 24, external audits, it's unclear whether these reports are in addition to those that are going to be generated by the external auditors. So we just propose that clarity be sought and then that clause be revised. Then Article 25, this was just to highlight the sanction provision, if there are any arrears, just to bring attention to how this is linked to Article 19. So any failure to make payment for any budgetary reasons would then limit the participation in SADC Parliament. And I think one of the second or almost last comments is scrolling down, going to immunities and privileges. We think that there should be a limitation on powers and on immunities and privileges to only when the person is acting in their official capacity, and that isn't clarified in this document, so we propose that be inserted. Then scrolling down further to Article 29, there's reference from here onwards to an executive secretary in this document, but the executive secretary should be deleted and that should be replaced with the Secretary General. And the reason we've proposed that is because the Secretary General is actually the correct term for that position in the draft protocol. It's not an executive secretary. If that isn't the case, then we propose that an executive secretary then be defined so that it's clear that this isn't the Secretary General that's supposed to be performing these functions. And that's in relation to from Article 29 onwards in the draft protocol where the Executive Secretary is referred to. And then I think lastly, with regards to transitional provisions, there is no definition for organ on politics, defense, and security cooperation established by Article 9 of this treaty. So we propose that a definition therefore be inserted. And those were all of the comments that we proposed that the committees consider for the draft protocol. And I'm happy to address any comments if there are any on those proposals. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. McGovern. I would now note the hands of the members, noting that today's session, it was about information sharing. So if we have clarity-seeking questions and where we want to comment as well, we are open for that. But again, I want the Department of International Relations to just indicate to us in terms of the timelines, so that at least as we engage, we are able to go back where we can go through deeper with this document. And when we meet for finalization, at least we have sense that we have done justice to the document itself, because it is important that what has been presented by the legal department actually indicated where they have identified gaps, where they think that we need to refine those particular gaps on this draft document. So it is very important, and we have noted as members. Now I'm noting hands for clarity-seeking questions. Then the department will respond after in terms of this issue of the timelines. Members, I want to check hands for comments, clarity-seeking questions based on the presentation from the legal advice. Noted, Honorable.
Chair, I'm struggling to raise a hand there. Kindly note me, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Pala. I'm noting Honorable Mzamo Pili, and then there would be Honorable Ofense Jeremiah, and then Honorable Pala. Any member who can raise his or her hands so that I can note.
Chair, me too, Nonkonyana.
Okay,
Sorry.
so, all right. So then it will be
Honorable Machobe.
Okay. Honorable Nonkonyana and Honorable Machobe, I understand you are at the Eastern Cape, perhaps. Your gadgets are giving you some challenges. You are noted as such. Honorable Machobe will come after Honorable Pala. Over to you, Honorable members. Honorable Billy.
No, thanks, Chairperson. Greetings to yourself and to the honorable members. I just wanted to maybe first check in terms of the deadline, do we have anyone from DECO or any other person that might have information with regards to the deadline and whether we will be able to make the submissions or the inputs required, considering the fact that this was required by the 30th of April? Maybe if someone can just give an indication of where we are in terms of that. I do know that at PGIR we did briefly discuss this. Yeah, I think it might be important for progression as well, just for the committee to be appraised in terms of any other discussions that might be ongoing on the sideline with regards to the deadline. And then I'm not sure, maybe I did miss this, Chairperson. I think the document which was, or the presentation which was, which you've just been taken through is quite helpful in terms of understanding the proposed, the proposals. I'm not sure if I may have missed this in my inbox because I'm looking at the documents which were shared for this meeting. I I didn't seem to find it. I think it may have assisted better to have sight of it prior to really engaging, because I think some of the identified loopholes are quite crucial. And I think they certainly need better and prior, thinking and inputs from our side. I think I may have missed it on my side, but I just think maybe it could have been shared on time. But I think, Chairperson, the what is important at this point is just to understand really the timelines, looking at the lateness of this discussion for the select committee and for the parliament, for our parliament to process this. Maybe if we can just get some indication as to, how did we get to this point and what is being done to try and be able to make inputs, because I note that some of this was discussed by the SADC Council of Ministers, which included our representative, and it was agreed on or decided on the 12th of March 2025. Maybe if we can just get an input, like an understanding of what may have transpired. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Billy. Honorable Mukai.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, and good morning to the colleagues on the platform and all the presiding officers. Chair, mine is just a small one. Seeing that you are in Youth Month, I saw some of the structures of the SADC Parliamentary Forum, soon to be SADC Parliament. There is a women's caucus and then the other caucuses, but I don't see a dedicated youth caucus. And it's something of interesting that even when we met at the Youth Parliament last week, the speaker did indicate that you need to formalize it for our parliament as well. And it will also be nice that it finds expression in the SADC Parliament. I note that there is a standing committee. One of the standing committees, a standing committee on gender, human rights, and it does include youth, but there is no a standing alone structure like the Women's Caucus, and it will just be for interest maybe that it also finds expression in the SADC Parliament. That will be my input, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Mukai, for raising the flag of young people. Honorable Pala.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, honorable members, and good morning to the officials and who presented here and members of the department. Chair, mine is on the last comment made by the presenter, and before even I say that, let me appreciate the work which has been done by the legal team. The last point which the presenter made here on the lack of the organ on politics and security, that was my concern. I would want her to make some clarity on the organ. How do they see the organ? What are the things which the organ will deal with? And I would as well request or propose to look at the issue of the challenges of the Great Lakes. We are just coming from the crisis where our department has been involved and our troops have been withdrawn. And in my view, these challenges in the Great Lakes is going to be with us for a very long time. So I would propose or request the presenter or the legal team to look at making the Great Lakes an agenda on the on this SADC protocol. It must be an agenda until this area challenges, security challenges are dealt with. We as South Africa, we suffer from these challenges, and I think we need to come up front with a proposal, to nip some of these things up front, because we are the most country which suffers in terms of the inflow of people coming from these areas. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chairperson. Honorable.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Chairperson. Good morning to you. Good morning to the honorable members who are there, even those who are in the NA. Let me greet you all. But Chair, firstly, let us pray as for this thing that is happening in the Eastern Cape, especially in the OR Tambo, that they have been challenges of floods. Even in my area, as I'm speaking here, my home is affected. Nonetheless, Chair, let me chip into the presentation. Honorable Mukai captured me very well because my concern, I was going to raise the issue of youth and women because last week when we had committee on Friday, there was a committee of pitch IRI and also there was a program of youth. I won't go there because he captured me very well. And also mine, since the network, I've missed something because the presenter mentioned the issue of gaps. I was going to ask, what are those gaps? And also she talked of fees that they did not pay. What are the challenges of that? Or areas? Oh, sorry. Or areas that will affect us. Lastly, and also, I just want to understand what is the purpose of us to meet these countries? What are we going to gain? Because in order for us to understand the relations, because she mentioned the issue of Kenya, which is, I didn't get it clear when she was presenting it. Maybe the issue of network, because sometimes my network gets lost. That is my submission, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Asanda. Honorable Nonkonyani.
Chair and honorable members, good morning to you, and thank you very much for your decision to have this meeting together with the colleagues from the NA, and thank that our house chair is here, and really it's been very, very helpful. Then the further point, I must join my colleagues to thank the legal team for presenting and these comments, and it is really very, very helpful. On the issue of typos, I think we must just, without any further ado, agree with them. They are necessary, and they must be affected. They've favored us with that document indicating those typos, be it diacritical or otherwise. I think where I am, I agree with them. The second one, Chair, is the issue of gaps. Again, generally, I agree with them. The need of, they said, the need for a structure, the potential of a dispute, and everything that they've highlighted. However, I would have loved if they would say, yes, there is this, but we propose as South Africa, because we're going to present this thing to Parliament anyway. So at the end of the day, it will be the Parliament that will, but we must be able to really suggest to Parliament, what do we suggest? And because we do have researchers, they've already indicated that they compared this protocol with other protocol, which is very helpful. To me, it would be very, very good if then they would then suggest a formulation that on this, for instance, we are of the view it should be 5 years, it should be 2 years, for instance. And this is our motivation. Brief motivation will be very, very helpful in that regard. To me, they are better placed to really empower us to make that crucial decision, rather than to say, well, we raise this as a red herring and we need clarity. Let us suggest, because as Honorable Chair, person for international relations, Honorable Khatebe, already pointed out, the time is of the essence here. And to who is going to ask this question, who's going to answer this question, rather, sorry. And to me, let's just err on the side of caution, being very upfront as regards what our views are as this committee, which will, of course, seek the endorsement by Parliament, be it NA and NCOP. Then to me, that would be very, very good. That is why, therefore, I just wanted to raise chair. Other than that, I'm very, very happy with their suggestions. I think they are really being helpful. Perhaps if the department DECO is here also, maybe help us, because we would like to have a formulation that at least is well reasoned, based on research and documentation, that we can be able to say, our position as a committee, for instance, when we comment to the Parliament, the NCOP or NA, this is what we recommend on this formulation, and this is the basis for it. And the views of DECO will be very, very helpful as well. Other than that, Chair, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I'm really, really happy with the way you have convened this meeting and the deliberations thus far. Thank you. Let me just stop there.
Thank you, Nkosi. Honorable members and the legal team, these are the clarity-seeking questions, just to indicate that in terms of the legal opinion, the document was sent on Friday. The thing is that perhaps that made us confused is the fact that the presentation and the document that has been sent to us, it doesn't, it's not the same framework. However, everything is there in detail in terms of where the legal team is advising on things that we need to look at and refine as we will be dealing with this particular draft. I want to hand over to you, Ms. McGovern, and as well, just after you, let's get clarity from DERCO in terms of the deadline, so that as members, we are able to know what schedule set to to respond to everything that we need to respond to. As well, other issues can be responded to. Why not don't we have the part that speaks about youth participation, because there's a part that speaks about the women caucus. And just to add as well, I want to just get clarity. Previously, the involvement of persons with disabilities, how were they catered in this particular platforms? And as well, I know that on the issue of LGBTQIA+ society, we differ on positions as SADC. I don't want to touch that part, but it will be important and fruitful as well if we can get clarity. If previously those issues were part and parcel of the engagement by those who came before us. And then let's get clarity on the issue of the organ as well by Honorable Phala, as indicated. But I have noted as well the other question by Honorable Nonkonyane. It speaks partly to our role as members of Parliament in terms of taking a decision with regards to the terms, where you feel that it's not the part of your team and the department. Just give an honest response so that members at least could take it as umpako, that as they go and engage with their political parties, they are able to speak to that issue of the terms according to how they would see it fit. Over to you. And then would then give to Derko for other issues that were raised by members.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thank you to the members for their questions. I do need to clarify, so with Article 36, which is the transitional provision, perhaps I wasn't being clear, but what I'm referring to is there's reference to an organ, committee, right, obligation, and arrangement in journals. That's how that clause starts. An organ is defined in the treaty to be organ on politics, defense, and security cooperation. However, organs are established in terms of Article 9 of this treaty, so it's important for an organ to be defined in the draft itself, so that when you refer to an organ in Article 36, that it isn't an organ as defined in the treaty, which is the organ on politics, defense, and security cooperation, but rather the organs that are referred to in Article 8 of which is the establishment of organs of the SADC Parliament. So that is what my comment is referring to, that this draft protocol needs to include a definition itself, so that whoever reads the document after, as well as when SADC Parliament is dealing with its protocol, that the reference to organ is not the organ referred to in the treaty, but rather the organs referred to under Article 8. So I hope that addresses the member's comment. Then with regards to suggestions on how the gaps can be filled, my understanding from the instructions that I received were simply to comment on this document and to identify any issues with this document, and it may be for the IRDP and the content advisors to determine whether or not these suggestions are acceptable, and if so, propose amendments. But I'm happy to assist there if needed. Then with regards to the deadline for comments, if Durko is here, then they can speak to whether or not there has been an extension. My understanding from the email that we received this morning from Mr. Maswane is that we are still able to make, the committee is still able to make comments and provide them to Durko, and has requested that those be provided urgently. I think those were all of the queries for me to address. I'm sorry, the last question was whether or not previous comments were incorporated. Unfortunately, I'm new to legal services. I only joined in February, so I'm not sure whether this document incorporates any of the other changes and discussions that have been held by the committee previously, but I would leave that to the IRDP and to Durko to address. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Govan. Durko, Dr. David.
Chairperson, if I Chair, Tembani is online, Chair, from IRPD. He will be able to respond, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Gesh. Over to you, Tembani.
Oh,
Muted yourself. Tembani?
Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay.
You can continue.
Okay. Good morning, honorable members. But I just need to make a clarification before I continue with the timelines. DECO is not part of this meeting. As far as I know from the correspondence that we have received from the committee secretariat, there will be 2 meetings, right? For the select committee, which is today, and then the PC in the NA will have another meeting on Friday with DECO and the Parliamentary Legal Services. So DECO is not part of this meeting, but rather the Parliament's International Relations and Protocol Division is in attendance. So I just needed to make that clarity, Chair. But in terms of timelines, we do not have much time because we'll need to conclude this process before August, which will be the SADC Heads of State Summit. So by then, we'll need to have concluded with this process. That will mean that we look at the parliamentary program, looking at issues like constituency period, and see how we can expedite the processing of this matter, so that come August, we are done with it. We have submitted our inputs to DECO for transmittal to the SADC Secretariat. Thanks a lot, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you, Tembani. Honorable Asan, I think you are noting that some of the questions that you have asked, will deal with them when we meet with DERCO, in terms of clarifying our relationship with other sister countries or brothers countries, or those that we are working with in terms of bilaterals and working relations in terms of trades. Because we are noting that DERCO is not here, it's only protocol and other officials. And Honorable Mukai, I think your issue on the involvement of youth as well, it was not that covered. So what we would do would take this information that we got in today's session and go and engage with our parties and come back with a refined document that has input from our parties' interest in terms of how we see it fit for these document to make us work in the SADC region. And I've noted as well the question of Honorable Norway. It is a nice progressive question, more especially to deal with social ills and GBVF. And I want to lobby Honorable Norway to start this discussion in the NCOP so that the men can take a lead to ensure that there's an establishment of the men's caucus. As we did as women's caucus, there's a background in terms of how we ended up having that caucus, noting where we come from as a country. So it's a valid question, and as well something that needs to be considered by us as legislators as we do the work, because indeed there's an outcry that as much as we deal with the issue of addressing the imbalances of the past, we are creating a gap, but not considering as well other structures that might respond and balance the imbalances. So Honorable Khadeb is noting is here. The matter will be taken through in other houses as well to ensure that at the ultimate end, you are established as the men's caucus. As Honorable Mukai could have indicated, the nice thing is that we were part of the engagement of Youth Parliament. While on my side, I'm Youth in Tala, but I have noted that the Speaker of the NA has made a commitment that it's one of the things that has been identified as a gap, that in Parliament we don't have a youth parliament composed by young parliamentarians. So they are on a procedure or process to ensure that there's youth parliament that would speak to this issue. So if that youth caucus has been established, then I believe that youth involvement, youth participation, and other issues that young people feel that they are not considered when we are taking decision, like the issue that we are dealing with on the PGIR. It will be dealt with because already there would be people who are advocating for that particular space. So we are on course. We would just make sure that, Honorable Makai, we follow through that commitment and ensure that as we deal with the final draft of this document, we don't leave anyone behind. As I indicated, that one have noted that as we meet with these SADC countries, we still have challenges in terms of other issues that even if you would want to advocate for, you would need to be alive and allied on the wording on how do you put them, but noting that you are driving for a certain agenda based on the constitution of the country. So it's not yet Uhuru. We will continue ensuring that we speak on issues and organizations that we think that they are not being indicated as we deal with this particular draft, considering our political issues from different countries. So with that being said, honorable members, I just want to check if, okay, I see there's hand of Honorable Becky Khatebe and Honorable Mzamo. I would start Honorable Mzamo over to you and then Honorable Becky. Please indicate as well if it's follow-up clarity-seeking question and as well if it's responses to other issues. The meeting is open for that because this is an informative session where we can, participate and refine each other in terms of the ultimate goal. Over to you, Honorable Billy.
Chairperson, no, it's a follow-up on my side. I just wanted to check if there's any reason why DECO is not part of the meeting, looking at the fact that DECO is the initiating body in this. Is there a reason, if the principle is that they will attend the PC meeting, I'm assuming then it would also be correct to have them so that they could be able to provide clarity. I'm not sure if you are saying that there's going to be a separate meeting with DECO, that would be, if we are having this meeting, then it would have made sense to have them here. But the question is there any reason why DECO could not form part of this meeting so that we are able to quickly process this draft? I think, Chairperson, the substance or the intention of this has got quite dire consequences. There are really some really big submissions that will have far-reaching implications on the composition of the SADC Parliament and its work going forward. So I would assume that DECO would have been able to be part of the meeting. That's my follow-up question, Chair.
Gesh, please check, please. I've been just muted and I can see that somebody has raised his hand. I'm not sure it's yourself or the other person.
Hi, Chair. Honorable Khatebe has raised his hand and myself, Chair, to answer Honorable Billy, Chair.
Okay, I've noted Honorable Khatebe. You would come just immediately after Honorable Khatebe. I wanted to respond, but you would come immediately after Honorable Khatebe. Honorable Khatebe, over to you.
No, thank you, Honorable Chairperson. First of all, I'd really like to thank the input which has come from the honorable members in this discussion. But I want to raise a very serious concern, which was also raised by Honorable Billy, that the international relations, the Department of International Relations, also account to this select committee. So it is wrong that they are not here. Whoever made that decision I think that as the House Chairperson, International Relations, I'm very perturbed with that decision, because the NCOP is not the Cinderella house of Parliament. The NCOP committees and the House must be treated equally. So I think that it is wrong that the department, DERCO, is not here, because they must also provide this committee with first-hand information. Yes, we agree that on Friday, they'll be meeting the Portfolio Committee on International Relations. I think that from what we agreed on the PIR is that the members of the Select Committee can also attend that if they are available on that day. But what I'm raising in Chair is the issue of the time frame or the timeline. You can see that we've got a very tight time schedule in which we must deal with that, because in August, the heads of state will be meeting. So I suggest, Chairperson, that we must have a joint Select Committee and PC meeting next week on Friday, so that we deal with the substantive issues on this issue of this report which we're giving today, so that immediately after that, both the programming whip of the NA and the programming whip of the NCOP are able to slot the reports of the Select Committee and that one of the PC on the first week of August, so that we don't have any other glitch, so that by the time the heads of states meet, we should have cleared our desks as Parliament. I strongly suggest that. But what is very fortunate here is that we are having the Deputy Chief Whip on the side of the NA. Also, our Chief Whip as the NCOP is also part of the PJR. So I think that when we discuss the programs next week, we must already start slotting the reports of both committees, so that at least by the first week of August, they are adopted by both houses. Thank you, Chairperson. Ke a leboha. Bye, dank.
Ke a leboga, leadership, for providing as well some advices in terms of the way forward. Gershwin?
Hi, Chairperson. Thank you. The PC Secretary indicated he would like to answer, Chair, as he was liaising with DERCO, Chair. I'll hand over to him.
Okay, thank you, Kesh. Yeah, so that the messenger is not being killed. Over to the PC Secretary.
Thank you so much, Chairperson and honorable members. Chair, my last discussion with DERCO was that since communication was received by the minister on Thursday, DDG Siakolo, who's responsible for the SADC desk, they've indicated that they'll need more time to put together a comprehensive presentation, which they indicated that they are available to meet both the Select and the PC on Friday. So as such, Chair, there's a meeting that has been arranged for 10 o'clock on Friday, this Friday, Chairperson. However, noting the proposal from Honorable Khadebe, I'm not sure then if that meeting will still need to sit, or we can continue with the meeting next week, Friday, as proposed by Honorable Khadebe. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Please.
Chairperson?
Yes, Honorable Khadebe.
No, I request that meeting with the Portfolio Committee must continue, Chairperson, because the Portfolio Committee does not have that representation here in this meeting. The NA component which is here is that one of the PGIR. So the Portfolio Committee meeting must continue, and then we go to the substantive discussions on the 27th, next week, not this week. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Thank you, Honorable Khadebe. And I think as we are here as members from the side of Wipari, me and Honorable Billy, when that item comes, we'll remind each other that let's make sure that we slot this part of the agenda on the program. But again, I want the PC member from the NA, the secretary, to note that we are taking this as a grave concern that officials or executive cannot drive the agenda of Parliament. So we don't take this apology that they have submitted to us, that they need more time. More time for what? Because of this has been the document that has been on their tables. So we are not taking that apology, and we think that we are undermined, and we would write to them a letter from our side as the select committee in terms of us not being satisfied and not accepting that they absconded this particular meeting. The apology itself is just null and void. It doesn't give sense on why we don't have them in today's meeting for this clarity. Because if we got clarity from them around these issues, we are going to be very proactive in terms of the way forward on how to deal with this matter. So we are not taking that apology. It's unfortunate, and we hope that in future they would understand that they cannot dictate to us on how to craft our program of action as we do our work. But they must ensure that, Honorable Dlakuta, I've noted you, they must ensure that they work with us in executing the work of Parliament. Honorable Dlakuta.
Thank you very much, Honorable Manani. So my apologies, I was distracted a little bit because I was also in another meeting, so I might have missed a lot from this. But I heard what Comrade Honorable Hadebe was saying. Honorable members, on the email that was sent, is that the international relations and the PC on international relations, the DERCO, will meet on Friday, on the 20th of June, for the said purpose. So what I want to advise this committee that we are in now is that let's check also, before we start the meeting, let's check the availability of all stakeholders who are invited in a meeting. This email, I think it was sent yesterday or a day before yesterday. So we should have responded to this email to say that we are not taking anyone's apology. They should have been in a meeting. My understanding is that parliamentarians are the one driving portfolio committees. So it is our responsibility also, and the secretariat of this committee, to make sure that all stakeholders who have been invited to a meeting, they must be in a meeting so that they can present to this meeting. Then the other meeting of the select committee, DERCO was supposed to be in this meeting. The other meeting of the select committee, of the portfolio committee, they would then go and present to them as well. But they were supposed to be here to prepare for this meeting. I don't think that, Chairperson, you slept and wake up and decide that we should have a meeting today. I think proper diligence was given when preparing for this meeting so that every stakeholder would be in the meeting. I'm just advising the meeting that this is how things are supposed to be done, to make sure that all stakeholders with their presentation are part of the meeting as expected. What Honorable Hadebe raised, I don't think, yes, you might feel that way, that maybe they didn't attend because you are from the NCOP side. I don't think that is the reason for them not attending. I don't know their reason, but Parliament, both houses of Parliament are treated the same. So there should be no doubt as to how the other house is being treated. If they failed to present themselves to this meeting, I will support that the chairperson send them a strong message from her office with regard to this matter. It's unacceptable if they were invited. Thank you very much, Honorable.
Kakute, for the emphasis. Indeed, as our side of the select committee, since there's been to and fro communication and correspondence, with all the parties that were supposed to be part of this meeting, except the PGIR. Hence, I was appreciating that at least members of the PGIR, they understood that we are having the same item when I was indicating my apology. And they then decided to say, let's join the same meeting. So hence, we would be sending a correspondence from our side in terms of raising our dissatisfaction. Noting the remarks by Honorable Radebe that NCOP is not a Cinderella. Chief Whip, we are trying to raise a flag that we must no longer keep on engaging about equal houses being equal in terms of doing the work. But yeah, I'm taking what you are saying, that indeed you are taking us serious. So please be lenient to know that we did invite the department. But with that being said, members, I can see that we have actually dealt with the issue that we are supposed to be here for. And I want to actually just thank the legal advisors by highlighting issues of grammar. And Honorable Nonkonyan has indicated that we need to actually deal with those issues and definitions as we would be finalizing the document. We are noting that as well, issues of the rules, it's something that needs to be refined on the document. Clarification of Parliament as well would be of importance in terms of oversight role over SADC institutions. The Article 12 clarity needs to be sought as well in respect of the Regional Women's Parliament, noting what has been raised in terms of the Youth Caucus. And I hope, Honorable Mokai, I've actually indicated in terms of what could even assist us as we engage on those issues via through the Youth Caucus. And Honorable Pala, your issues have been noted. I know you are very passionate as well about safeguarding the security of the country. You always even teach that people must know that Nkosi Sikelele is the security of the country. So we must not do as we wish, as we do our work. We are noting that the correct version to Parliament will be given. In particular, the timeframes would be given to us. I'm noting there's a hand of the Honorable Majosi from the NA. Before I do the closing and agenda meeting, I would want to give you Honorable Majosi so that you speak, and then we can then agenda this meeting. Honorable Majosi.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson Mananiso, and good morning to all honorable members. No, it's not a lot, but just maybe in your closing remarks, can you please emphasize that this document must then be discussed in the caucuses so that when we meet the next Friday, not this one, but that other Friday, we are able then to consensualize all information that we would have received so that our time frames that we have set are able to take off within the two houses. It's only that, Chairperson, nothing further. Just that, please, on your closing remarks, emphasize that members should actually discuss the document in their caucuses. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Majosi. I think I took it light that maybe on the side of the NCOP, members from our side, they are inclined to know that when we go outside these particular processes, we need to go back to our respective political parties and engage on this matter. Hence, I was indicating as when we were starting this meeting. So your advice is taken and noted by members who are in this particular platform, that they will do as wise, because we all know where we get the mandate in terms of issues that we are engaging with as legislators. So with that being said, members, I declare this meeting officially adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, members.
Thank you, sir.
All the day.